Hi, everybody. It is Monday afternoon, January 1st, 2023. I hope everybody's having a terrific start to the new year as we cling to the outcome of the Alabama-Michigan game, which is currently going on as I record this. Welcome to Against the Public. I'm Dana Lane. This is your first look at Tuesday's betting patterns and where you might want to steer clear of public opinion. Today, I've identified 3 college basketball games for Tuesday where early betting patterns seem to be going in the wrong direction, and I think it gives us a clear advantage. Speaking of advantage, after the show, go to Pickdawgz.com where you'll find my top 3 NBA selections for just $49.99. We reduced that a little bit to from $54.99 to $49.99. And this package comes, of course, with our Pick Dawgz win guarantee that states you must profit or receive an immediate site credit for the purchase price. Get my 3-pack, or better yet, jump in with the All Access Pass. Thank you so much to everybody that has done that. We're going to have a terrific week, a terrific month, a terrific year, no matter how you got on board with the All Access Pass. Ensure that you will never miss another best bet again. By getting this pass, you'll get all my plays from college football to the NFL. You know we have been lighting up football this year. The NHL, college basketball, college, the NBA. Yeah, that's the last one. You'll get all of those plays for one low price. And when I go over the NHL, I kind of skip because sometimes I forget about talking about the NHL, and absolutely lighting it up. Another plus money winner today with Seattle. So become a all access customer winner, or all access customer today. This is going to be a one take today because I made plans, and if I'm late, I'm not going to be in big trouble. So this is going to be one take, for better or worse. This is the way it's going to be. But become an all-access pass member. Please go to Pickdawgz.com, get involved. Make this your 2024, make this your best year ever. I just want to give, before we get to our free plays today, I wanted to get back into giving you guys like a couple angles that you can take when you're doing your own handicapping on your games. And I thought it was interesting. I look a lot at shooting percentages, and I kind of wondered, exactly how does that equate to winning? How does a team that shoots well, shoots, 45-50% or 40 to 45%, however you think a good team should be shooting. I'm kind of in that 43 to 47 range, 44, 47 range. That's where that's where my comfort levels are. But it's interesting. I took those numbers and I said, okay, well, how are they doing really against the spread this year? And it's interesting. Teams shooting 35% and under are actually doing very well. Now, you do have to keep in mind, and we're going to change the parameters of this a little bit, but you do have to keep in mind that there could be 2 teams that fit that bill that are playing against each other, so that's kind of a write-off, and didn't go through every game to figure that out. But teams that are shooting 35% and under are 35 and 30 against the number this year. A little bit of a profit too, 1.89 units of profit. Teams shooting under 39.9% are 208 and 193, minus 3.65 units. Now, overall, the units have lost, but really in this kind of case study, we're looking at wins and losses, and you still see that teams that are shooting 39.9% and under are still covering the spread more times than not. Now, I've taken this parameter a little bit because as you get higher into the 40s, 45s, then you get a whole bunch of games. And then you get a whole bunch of teams that are actually, playing each other that are shooting over 40%, which most are actually. So I put a little bit of a caveat on this, and I said, okay, what about favorite teams? Teams that are favored, shooting above 40%. Well, teams that are favored that are shooting above 40% for the season, so we knocked it down to just one team, can't be both teams, are 537 and 522. Again, not good enough to make a profit if you're betting every single game, but it does show you that the teams that are shooting above 40% have a little bit better of a chance of winning against as a favorite. Favorites shooting above 45% this year are 291 and 289. So just a little bit above against the number. So I don't know, take it for what it's worth. It does appear that teams that favorites that are shooting better than 40% are kind of worth a look, but I don't know if it's that much of an edge. It does seem when I'm looking at this that teams that are shooting 35% or under are 35-30. That might be something you want to add to the arsenal. I don't know, 5 games above 500, but there is a little bit of a profit there, and the chances that you have 2 teams playing each other that are hitting 35% and under are pretty remote at this time of the year. So at least hey, look, I'm definitely all in on one team, and I don't have to worry about handicapping 2 teams that are that are poor shooting teams. So anyway, I hope all that made sense. The best shooting teams, and these are the teams that are shooting 40% plus to bet on this year against the spread, is number 3 is Colorado State. They're 8-2 against the spread, plus 5.19 units. Number 2, FAU. The Owls are 8-2 against the spread, plus 5.26 units. And the number 1 team that is shooting above 40% this year to bet on as against the number is Cal State Northridge, 7-0 this year against the number. And of course, we like to go the other way as well. Rhode Island and USC is 1-6 ATS, minus 5.09 units. Now, these are teams that shoot over 40%, but are not good against the spread. Check that, Rhode Island and USC come in at number 3, that they're tied. Idaho State, the Bengals, 1-6 ATS, minus 5.09 units. And number 1, the worst good team to bet on that shoots over 40% this year, the Kansas Jayhawks, 3-8 against the spread, minus 5.25 units. So that's something you can kind of take with you as you're handicapping. I mean, we are going to get into basketball now because we're just about done with college football, and of course the NFL won't be far behind. So, and really the NFL is down to 2 days a week now. So we want to make sure we got to fill up the other 5 days with winners. Okay, let's get to our Tuesday free plays, and so I can get out of here. 4 o'clock Eastern time is our first game, 6:01, 6:02 on your rotation. Utah State Aggies, 6.5, 138 against Air Force. This number is going to tick up at least a half a point before game time. So I would suggest kind of waiting until you can maybe get that 7. I don't mind it at 6.5, but I think 7's going to come out there. And the reason for that is I think once the public realizes that the Falcons are just 1-6 ATS in their last 7 games, they're going to see the 12-1 Aggies coming to town. They're going to be all over Utah State. We might get a 7 out of this. I don't know if we're going to get a 7.5 because it's not that big of a game to dive into. But I think that the people that are looking at this game will definitely be on Utah State. And guys, I have followed this conference for a long time. And I know one thing, as a faithful supporter of UNLV and watching the teams in this conference. I've seen them all live. I've seen them all live recently, as last year. And I can tell you this. What you see in the non-conference season has nothing to do with what you're going to see in the regular season. And I remember going to, I go to conference tournament games every single year in this conference, and I can tell you, man, it is always a crapshoot who's going to win. So, Utah State appears to be the better of the 2 teams, but I'm telling you, Clune Arena is a tough arena to go into and play. It is not easy. UNLV can attest to that. The Falcons are a very good defensive team, and the Aggies are more than willing to slow the pace. So I think that plays in to Air Force staying close in this one. So we're going to take them plus the 6.5. Hopefully we can get a 7 on that. Game number 2, 7 o'clock Eastern time, 6:03, 6:04. DePaul, the Blue Demons against Connecticut Huskies. Huskies a massive favorite, 24.5, 140 is your total. Classic trap spot here, but not an obvious trap spot. DePaul has cashed 4 straight unders in 7 of 12 this season. Connecticut has cashed 3 straight unders, 3 straight themselves, and 7 of 12 this season. So both of these teams come in kind of in the same spot. And the odds makers send out a 140 thinking that would be just good enough to grab that under. It's a really tricky number because I would much rather have it in that 145, 145. I would have been, hey, this is a massive trap spot. But 140 is kind of a sneaky trap because it's right where it should be. But you would have thought they would have sent out, maybe a 143, something like that. But it's sneaky enough. And I think, and what they're doing is they're getting the better of the number here. And we know, hey, look, we know the Huskies are the best team in college basketball. When you're playing defensively, they're fantastic. They're not even arguably the best defensive team in college basketball. They certainly is. But when you blow out your opponent, which they're going to blow out the Blue Demons, I think they will take the Blue Demons over this 140 mark. Because think about it. Do you think in your head that UConn can get to 80 in this game? Absolutely. So even if it's a 20-point blowout, they will take DePaul over that finish line. I can definitely see it's 80 and DePaul's in the 60s. This game is going to crawl over that 140 because it is a difficult number. But I think it's going to get there about 143, 144. Going to get there in the end based upon DePaul's desperation and jacking up some threes. Not necessarily from the free throw line like it usually is. So we're going to go over the 140. And game number 3, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 6:05, 6:06, Iowa Hawkeyes versus the Wisconsin Badgers. Badgers minus 8 and 153. We see early ticket count favors the Badgers, 75-25. That's one of the few early games that we got back as far as ticket count is concerned. So that's not enough to put this on the list. That's not good enough to put this on the main list, the 3-pack list today, or on the website. But I don't know. Iowa's not been great against a number this season, but I think that they might be breaking out a little bit. We saw them against, again, sneaky covers against Northern Illinois, against Florida A&M, teams that would not even move the meter at all. But they were massive favorites in those games and covered ththose games, and it would have been 3-0. 3-0. They played Maryland and Baltimore County, and were 26.5-point favorites. They won that game by 22, but they absolutely dominated that game for 40 minutes. The Badgers are less than impressed. They were less than impressive against Jacksonville State. They weren't so great against Arizona. They cashed a ticket against Chicago State. But Iowa is a top 10 shooting team in the nation. They like to shoot a lot. They like a lot of high-octane offense, unlike their football counterparts. And the Badgers are 273rd on defense this year in the nation. So Iowa's going to have plenty of chances to stay within a number here. I'm going to grab the 8 and take the Hawkeyes. So that does it for our 3 games today. Please go to pickdawgz.com. Get involved with one of my many packages, including my NBA 3-pack for $49.99. That is my 3 best NBA plays for Tuesday. Get that 3-pack or jump on that 30-day all-access pass. It is the start of 2024. So let's get this thing rolling in the right direction. Let's have the best year that we have ever had. The 30-day all-access pass, the 90-day all-access pass. Join me for the entire year right now. So let's recap our 3 plays. Air Force plus 6.5, DePaul, UConn over 140, and Iowa plus the 8. So that does it for today's show. I'm Dana Lane. Thank you for joining me. Nothing but the best to you and your wagers on Tuesday.